么微 Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another banger of a week. This week, unfortunately, we do not have Brandon. And so, with that said, it is just the Jakester and I that you can see in the audio.
That's me.
How
Yeah,
you doing,
occasionally
boys?
Brand will chime in from the Nether and make his presence known.
Oh yeah.
Child for real. All the gas and all this shit down here, bro. It's hot as hell.
I did just discover a very cool thing. I was on Twitter and I found out that Elton John and Britney Spears have a remix rendition of Tiny Dancer, and it's called Hold Me Closer. It's the same kind of format that they had with a few of the other tracks. The one with Dua Lipa. Um, but yeah, it's of that same vein. And he performed it live to an audience of rich people at like a small little club thing. And it was the coolest video ever. So yeah.
Yeah, you may be wondering, why do you look like this? What is this camera angle? Well, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
We're down in chat.
I'm getting the... I don't have the link for... So, a lot is happening this week. A lot has happened since we last spoke.
Vouch, agreed.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a Jake there. You ended it off on a really weird note. You can
I know how to pick up with that.
yeah.
I was reviewing some of my PGA Tour notes I made for a future discussion.
Well, let's talk about the PGA Tour. They came
Yeah.
out with something crazy. They're clapping back
Yeah.
at the Live Tour.
Well, they made a bunch of changes, and they're going to start making every major tour player who is actually worth a damn and like competes every tournament. They're making them required to play in about 20 or so elevated matches. So golf usually has four majors, and now they're going to make it four majors and then 16 other larger events. So they're going to take the Arnold Palmer Classic, the Memorial, so on and so forth, and they're going to make the prize purses around $20 million for each. So they're going to give the players a lot more money, and they're going to try and get big PGA golf in more cities across the country. And so it's interesting stuff. It's cool. The fact that the tour is trying to fight back in some way by paying their players more is nice. But on top of that, they're also giving, if you have 20 wins or more as a PGA player, you're officially a PGA Tour member for life. There's a couple other interesting things. They're giving base player pay an increase, so the average guy who goes into PGA Tour gets an increase. There's a bunch. The coolest by far is that Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods have created their own golf series. It's going to be about 15 weeks, and it's going to be like indoor stadium golf. It's going to be a hybrid of technology and golf, done in stadiums, done in arenas, and technology will play a huge factor. People are thinking it's going to be a par three that somehow like changes its shape and format through like technology, which would be crazy. But we'll see. It's interesting. It's going to be 3-on-3 tournaments. It's going to be good stuff. So it's going to be every Monday night starting in January of 2024. So they're trying. They're trying to combat against the Live Tour. But, you know, I think the PGA will come out better from this. They didn't make a few changes, and it looks like they're trying to do that now, which is a good sign because golf's growing and the PGA needs to evolve as well.
Yeah, I don't know much about golf, but what I can say is that golf is super fucking boring to me. And when you described this to me earlier, I definitely felt like, holy crap, this could actually be something that I could enjoy.
Yeah.
It
And
just
yeah.
It just feels like, they understand that there's something going on. There's something else that's out there that might take some of the glory away from the PGA and what that's about, and they're finally giving an answer, and that's
Yeah.
definitely nice.
Well, they had that big meeting that Tiger Woods was the head of, where they're trying to discuss solutions to the PGA Tour and how to make things better. And they did that. I think there's a very positive meeting. And I think the fact that we get to see all of our favorite players play at least 20 times a year is huge. I see golf the same way I kind of see fighting, where you only see your favorite players play every so often. You're not seeing Tiger, for example, playing anything but majors. Rory's more active. We don't have any of the former world number ones who went to the Live Tour, but they're trying, and I think that the fact that they have an elite format already and they're making it better is going to just promote more longevity. The PGA Tour is infinitely larger than Live Tour is, and this is just a way to bury the Live Tour. The most interesting part is that the PGA Tour said that any detractors can't come back. For the time being, at least, they didn't say they would ever not let them back in, but they've made it pretty obvious that, like, for the foreseeable future, they're gone. So that's interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, especially like what happens if this this live tour just fails, and
It's starting to.
well that's kind of that kind of leads into my question, like, are they will they at that point let them in, or is there gonna be like this big like fuck you guys dipped when we were just trying to figure shit out. You guys could have stayed, and we could have just figured shit out, but no.
Yeah, I think the way it's going to end up being is the Live Tour will go under eventually, and those players won't have a home. And after like maybe a year or two of them being on the shelf, they'll be welcome back. But I mean, a lot of guys can't even go to the European Tour because the European Tour is also owned by the PGA. So those group of misfits might try and start their own thing in the time being, and that could cause a future shakeup. But for the time being, it's Live Tour versus the PGA, and I think the PGA is going to win via squash match.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting thought to think about. Like, you had this like fiasco almost with the live tour, where it forced the PGA to change things up a little.
Yeah.
But it could also potentially lead to, like you just said, a bunch of guys who love golf and have been playing golf their entire life, making their own thing and just figuring it out. That I feel like could be a scary thing for the PGA Tour too, because get a bunch of guys that love the game of golf that have been playing for the last fucking 20 years for some of them, you know. I bet they could come up with a pretty good product.
Do you think that, with the Live Tour players who, when a Live does eventually fail, do you think that when they do make their own league, they're not going to fund it with their own money? They're going to need outside investments. I think the Saudis are not out of the picture. I think they've built good relationships with a lot of players and taken care of a lot of players. So whether or not you feel a type of way about Saudi Arabia and their investment backings, I think a lot of these players will get funded by a conglomerate over there, and I think in transit they'll be able to make a player empowerment league. And I guess my question is, do you think a league that's veiled behind the disguise of being player empowering would be enough to draw more than the Live Tour being just another PGA version? If you have a player run league, do you think that would be the future of where sports should go?
I think it depends on how much it's actually run by players per se.
Like if you say, for example, hypothetical, you PGA Tour members vote for their president, their vice president, and their chair, essentially.
Right, but then the question becomes, how much say do these people that are responsible for the live tour, how or maybe they're not, but they're from the same area, and so anybody from the same area is going to kind of have like negative connotations given to them, especially if the live tour fails. You know,
Right.
So my question would be, how much say do they have because they've provided the money? And that would be, I think, the deciding factor. Because I think if they have any power really whatsoever, then I think it's very, very close to becoming just another version of the live tour. You know,
I
and
don't
I don't think that
they'd be.
works.
Yeah. I don't think they'd be brokering their own TV deals. They'd probably get assistance with that. I think formats, amount of players who can play in a tournament, and prize purses can all be, and where they play, and different adaptations of the game would be all in the players' favor. I think anything in terms of like airtime, promotion, would be done by an outside agency, or the investors, for example, would have a major say in that as well.
Right, and I think that's where that's where it gets important to figure out, like, that would be the deciding factor of whether something like that would succeed or if it wouldn't. Because if all they really are taking care of is just making sure the money keeps coming and that the tour gets televised properly, then that's great. And as long as they're not dealing with the players, except for like I said, providing that flow of money, I think it's very likely that more, especially in the real world scenario of golf, like more golfers especially would at least consider switching over.
Yeah.
Because I mean, anytime you're able to empower yourself more and have more say in how something happens, why wouldn't you? It's kind of
Right.
I mean, we as humans, we like to be in control. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting because I think if something like that were to happen, it would definitely open up the notion of, like, in other sports that maybe something like that could happen, especially with like a bunch of disgruntled players from other sports that just like aren't a fan of how the league has gone. They want to bring it back to quote unquote glory days or something like that, just as a hypothetical situation. I could see it pouring over.
I don't know. I truthfully don't think so. It's one of those things where all the other sports are team sports, and you have the amount of people you have that are required even to run a team just for team sports is insane. So I think like it only opens a door for those solo sports like golf, NASCAR, maybe.
Tennis.
And that crosses over into MMA too. I think that's another sport that needs to have serious overhaul in terms of fighter pay and structure. The guy who just won the welterweight championship this past weekend, Leon Edwards, taking out longtime champion and 15 fight win streak haver Kamaru Usman, took him out in the 5th round with a late head kick after being down 3-1 in the fight. That dude only made $50K for a win bonus, and he just beat one of the best champions of all time. The fighter pay system is broken there as well. I think more fighter, involvement in the process of how fighters get paid, maybe even just a fighters union, do great things for the sport. But with them, you'll never see it.
Yeah, I mean, I that was where my brain was going to, was like was like the fighting world, like MMA and boxing and things like that. That was kind of where my head was. You're already kind of seeing it with boxing, with the whole like YouTuber boxing and things like that. Like I think of KSI as a big influence in kind of changing that realm of, it doesn't have to be the way it's always. You can do it if you want to do it. It takes a lot of work, but you can do it if you want.
I mean, obviously, we don't want guys who have CTE to be running everything, but we want fighters to have more say. That's the biggest thing.
Right, like we don't want a bunch of Antonio Browns trying to create a new fucking league.
I mean, look at George Masvidal's league. He made his own fight league, and it's tanking. Habib made his own fight league. It's tanking. Yeah.
Well, did they see? My question for that would be like, are they getting any like influence from outside sources, or is it like
They're
just
getting
them?
direction from the UFC. The UFC is like providing guidance for them and trying to give them like they air their stuff on Fight Pass sometimes, or not Fight Pass. They like established them with contracts or providers. So like George Masvidal is on Fight Pass. Habib's is on a different, like it's on like an independent Euro like website that you have to buy a subscription for. So not the best use of money because the fights kind of suck. And George Masvidal is just, it's guys that, unless you watch very regionally specific mixed martial arts, you wouldn't know. So it's hard. Like you need to have named talent. And if you don't have any quality fighters and you can't run promotion. The issue is all the places that do have the major best names in the sport, they do have money, but they also have a lot of fucking fighters where they have to pay damn near 700 people money every year to fight, sometimes multiple times for each individual person. So, there's an argument to be made, but they also make so much money that these fighters should be getting paid. And at least, raise the base from, it's 10,000 to show right now is the base for the entry level UFC fighter, I believe. And imagine just bumping to 25 to show, 25 to win, base UFC contract. And then with that, everything kind of tears up as well. But, again, I don't think they're ever going to do it with Dana White at the helm.
Yeah, I mean, he has been pretty adamant about fighters being paid fairly, and they are paid fairly.
Talks about it often.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. Like, it's hard to do, and like it's hard to have any like secondary league or like new league without a big name.
Yeah.
It's damn near impossible.
I mean, other MMA promotions take UFC's leftovers and use them as their marquee guys.
Right. Switching sports a little bit, we've got some pretty good names on the Packers defense. I wanted to talk about the Packers defense.
Yeah.
Because Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes is getting fired up in practices, getting in little tussles with fucking with the Saints players when they were practicing against the Saints. Who else was I reading about today? Quay Walker seems like he's settling in nicely. What are your thoughts on how our defense is gonna be this year?
I do like our secondary a lot. I also like our corners and our safeties. The line, I don't know. I'm really interested to see how Wyatt performs. Also think he has the best number on the team for defense. He's number 7, which is a phenomenal number for a lineman. I think it's very cool to have that
wild.
change being in the league. Yeah. I'm interested to see how he does. He was an absolute monster in college. So, if that translates over into the NFL, a lot of D linemen come in right away and make an impact, especially when they're a high draft pick like that. So I'm really hoping to see something special there. Aside from him, I do know the rookie safety we got, Tariq Carpenter, or second year, hasn't played much, and I'm curious to see how he does when he finally comes in. But the preseason game I went to last week, didn't see him, didn't touch the field.
What I thought about when I was watching the game last week.
What's that?
The cornerback or safety that you mentioned that you said looked like Al Davis, or Al Harris. I mean,
right?
He grabbed the fumble.
Huge, huge.
And I was like, oh, that's the guy that Jake was talking about.
I could not see the scoreboard, so I had no idea who did what.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't have my glasses. My glasses are broken. But
how was the game? Was it nice? Have a good time?
Dude, we had great seats. I personally, you're thinking of Sean Davis is the guy. Yeah, I was talking about.
Yep.
We had good seats. The people around us were absolutely fine. It rained at halftime, so a bunch of people left and like a bunch of seats opened up. So we actually found during the rain, against the wall of the 400s, there's a small little overhang that you don't get wet in.
Right.
So we like went to the very top row because everyone left and sat there. It didn't get rained on. Stayed through halftime and watched the entire game. We left at the end of the fourth quarter.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's lit.
Yeah. So, but like not being able to like read names of players in their jerseys
That kind
and
of
like
sucks,
being
but
and the scoreboard being at an awkward angle where like it was an angle for me and the other one was too far away for me to see, and then like the side like on like the interior rim of the Lambeau Field, they have like small scoreboards strewn about, but like I still couldn't even see those. So
jeez.
yeah, so I could see the score because the score was pretty huge, but that's
Right.
about it.
Right.
Mhm.
I feel like, and I realize I said this last year, but I feel like, especially with the way that our defense looks and has looked over the past few years and is just improving, it does kind of feel like we are just right back to where we were last year, like right on the cusp of something great, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's really going to come down to either Christian Watson or Romeo Daubs.
Yeah.
Like one of those two is going to need to have it right away. And if they do, then I think we're golden.
And Romeo's been going to lunches with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and
You know?
he was playing pretty well with Jordan Love in the preseason too.
Yeah, Aaron just said that he was having a few drops here and there, and that it was kind of a cause for concern. But we're gonna see, man. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah. Speaking of Aaron, did you see what he said about the offense the other day?
What do you say?
He said something along the lines of, "We did like a quick little like 2-minute walkthrough or like something like that. Like it was basically just like a little walkthrough, and where they actually got into a huddle and did a couple
Yeah.
things." And he said he looked around the huddle, he saw, and these are real things that he said. Big giraffe, big
Bakhtiari.
big guy or something like that. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to find the quote because it's fucking hilarious.
I love Aaron.
Aaron Rodgers, big giraffe.
Big giraffe.
You're a big giraffe. How do you think Aaron's gonna do this year?
I don't think he'll win the MVP, but I think he's gonna be in the conversation.
You don't think he's gonna go back to back to back MVP?
I don't think they'll
No.
do it. No.
You don't think they'd do it even if he just fucking lights
It
up?
won't follow the storyline in the NFL, and it's gonna wind up being Deshaun Watson.
I will throw
Oh
up.
Jesus.
I will throw up. Brandon, you can put on your fucking tinfoil hat in a second. But here it is. Aaron Rodgers says, the pre-practice jog through. I stepped into the huddle the other day. It was Big Giraffe at left, Elton over at right, Big Dog was in there, Sammy and Cobb and Allen and Jonesy. I was like a pretty good offense right now. And I feel like that was partly for like he said that for a reason, and I feel like he said that to kind of like try to put everybody at ease. It's gonna be like he feels good in the offense, but honestly, like Bakhtiari at left, Elton Jenkins on the right. I don't know who Big Dog is supposed to be.
Runyon.
You think it's John Runyon?
No.
But then like thinking of the trio of Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb in the slot, that's not a bad fucking like starting 3 receivers.
No, not at all. Running back room is going to be always solid as well. Kylan is a fiend, and I can't wait to one day seeing that guy take off and actually do some things in the NFL. I'm just very confident in the offensive production. Do want Aaron to stay relatively safe and healthy. So Runyon was the only rookie on the Packers offensive line last year to play all 16 games. And I'm hoping that like that translates because being a third or being um, another year in the league as a lineman, I feel like it takes there's an adjustment period. Like you get a certain level of I don't want to say grown man strength, but like your feel for the game and like just overall time spent developing and kind of learning your system. And obviously makes you a better player and more efficient. And when you're a rookie getting that much experience, just kind of being a sponge and soaking everything in, they develop pretty quickly. So I'm hoping to see big leaps from him as well. Right guard, I can't think off the top of my head, and it's driving me nuts. So I'm going to look this up really quick.
Yeah, I can't think the top of my head of right guard, but I know we just signed a. Can't remember if he's been in the league for a couple years or if he's a rookie, but he's from Wisconsin. Actually, he's an offensive lineman from Wisconsin.
Royce Newman.
Oh yeah, Royce
He's
Newman.
hybrid.
Yep.
He filled in for games. Yep.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying. I definitely agree, and I feel like I remember a couple offensive linemen talking about like their rookie years and what they remember the most. And I think, if I remember correctly, most of them say something like the speed or like the power of an NFL defensive lineman or linebacker in comparison to that of college, because I feel like college really focuses on speed, but it's not. You're those guys are still not at their peak. You know, they're not working out like they do in the NFL.
Haven't gotten the grown man strength either.
They're not eating like they do in the NFL. They're not being fucking. It's not their job yet. You know, like it. At the end of the day, I feel like that's what it comes down to. Is it's really not their job yet. And
yeah,
once it kind of becomes their job, everything becomes a little bit more important. You practice a little bit harder. You work a little bit harder. All of it. You know, you play a little bit harder. So I think that there definitely is something to him having played all 16 games last year, being the only rookie lineman for us to have done that. I think there's a reason he's got the starting spot. You know, and I think that has to be one of them. Just that experience and his ability to show that he had what it takes. You know, he could hold his own.
Oh yeah. It should be a good year. I've got high hopes, and I know I shouldn't because I do every year. And something always bad happens, whether it be in the playoffs or the regular season, with injuries or just us blowing games in the playoffs. I have my hopes up this year. If not now, when in the foreseeable future? Like, Aaron's not getting any younger. He's going to be productive for a while, but like I don't know, that peak could start falling off at any minute. When you're getting that age.
And for Aaron, it could be like it could be very unlike Tom. It could be like once it starts, it's gone, basically. Like once it starts, he loses his arm strength or something like that. Like I could see that happening with a guy like Aaron, who's just so, or especially the accuracy. I feel like especially with Aaron, once we start to see more interceptions, that's how we know he's done.
Yeah.
You know, the moment we see an touchdown to interception ratio take a downward turn, I feel like that'll be his last year.
If he has a bad year this year, they're going to blame the ayahuasca.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Aaron's a druggie. He can't play anymore. Yeah, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, he needs to focus more on football in the offseason and less on the drugs or less on the vitamins or something like that. I know they will.
Yeah, they will.
But while you were talking about getting your hopes up and something always
happens.
Clip
that. Also, note to selves, go back and clip that. We should put that one out.
True. I just put a highlight.
Yeah, because we called it out. If anything bad does happen.
We know what they're going to
say.
Yeah, we know what they're going to say. And so while you were talking about something bad always happening, I immediately thought of our fucking special teams.
Yeah.
Brandon, you can give your thoughts on this too if you're still with us, because you're so quiet, I can't always tell.
Unfortunately, I have passed away. I'm no
Well,
longer with us.
I didn't mean it like that, but goddamn, you're
I
coming
ain't gonna
from
lie.
it.
I know I was like
Rankin.
disconnected for about half of that, so I don't know what the fuck
Oh,
you're
okay.
talking about. So
We're on
Joe,
to
are you
football and the Packers. I have a question for the
Joe,
team.
are you gonna? Yeah.
Special teams. Our special teams, I would argue the past 2 years has been shit. We have a new special teams coordinator, who Rick Bisaccia or whatever his name is, who is supposedly like the best of the best. I think that was the guy that the Raiders had as their interim head coach when Gruden got canned. But if we fucking suck on special teams for the first 3 weeks, is Mason? Are we cutting? Are we like literally getting rid of Mason, forcing retirement for him, and finding a new kicker?
Yeah. Mason's even questionable for week 1 right now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Do we have a second kicker?
retire.
Oh no, but I hope our punter can kick too.
I know, right? Otherwise, I mean, Aaron can't do it all. He
Give
can't
Pat
kick.
McAfee a call.
Dude, seriously, bro.
I saw
Did
that
you
today. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel for the Colts, man.
Me
Feel for the
too.
Colts. Yep, that sucks.
It does. Rigoberto.
We do have a backup kicker. His name was Ramirez on that. Or
So that's just
Ramirez on that
competition
one.
for Mason. Yeah, that's just competition. They're gonna drop him when we get down to the 52-man roster. They're gonna cut him.
Yeah, I would assume so.
No, he was on the team last year.
Really?
Well, I
Yep, he
mean,
has-
with
he has
how
1
bad
year of
Mason
experience.
has been, I would say that it would make sense for them to keep him.
He hasn't
I mean,
played it all, but
Yeah, I was gonna say he hasn't played, but they must like something
Brad, did we
about him.
carry? Yeah, Brad, did we carry 2 punters?
No, because we got rid of
we
our
only have
punter.
3.
Pat O'Donnell.
Yeah, you just one. Yeah, usually it's 3 actual kickers of some variety and a long snapper.
Yeah.
And then you usually have a few backup guys who know how to long snap just in case.
Yep.
Nope. Only one long snapper in our official depth chart.
Now, speaking of official depth charts, Joe, do we have a Long Hair Gang Fantasy draft date yet?
I was gonna talk to you boys about pushing the podcast back to Thursday next week and doing it Thursday for the show. Are you guys?
Yeah,
cool
that's
with
probably
that?
fine. Yeah.
Should we go with me?
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Cool. Okay, sweet. I will work on an announcement for that, so that we can get that hyped. Ethan has been
right.
more talkative with me, and he's our 12th person, so that's good. I was getting worried that he might not be around, but
Yeah. What's the if you want to give it away, what's the strategy this year for you?
kicker first.
'Cause I'll tell you mine.
It's a kicker year, boys. If I'm being completely honest with you, I've changed, and this is an insider trading fucking information kind of thing here. I changed the points. The kicker is where you're gonna get the points this year. 100%.
Okay. Are you being legit?
No.
I was gonna say, God damn it, Joe.
No matter what you say, I'm
Um,
not drafting a kicker first. I fucking refuse.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the strategy overall this year, I'll give away one hint, just one tidbit of the strategy. Youth at the running back position is vital for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I had to give a couple, just a few tips on fantasy drafts, in my opinion, this year. Always looking for that like little bit of mobility in the younger QB, in my opinion. Always looking for, like you said, a younger running back. And then the receiver is where it's like that's kind of where anything goes. You don't want to hold yourself in a box
Get
for
the best
receiver,
guy.
in my opinion.
Just get the best guy.
Yeah, when
Now,
you're going for receiver, it's all about best man on roster for sure.
Yeah.
now, Joe, do most people in our league this year have they played fantasy football before? That switches on
Ray
my strategy.
Ray is
We have a
joining, and she has not. This will be her first time ever playing. Society is playing again, and I don't know if you remember from last year, but Society was the guy who drafted a QB super early. He probably will draft Dak Prescott almost right away. Um, he drafted, I believe, 2 defenses and 2 kickers as well.
All right, not worried. Next.
Um, and he's back.
He,
He's pretty good.
here's the thing. Here's my strategy, right? Wednesday night next week, I'm just gonna fucking read a bunch of fucking fantasy news. All right, I want to
they're
write
gonna
shit
auto
down.
draft.
What?
They're gonna end up auto drafting.
How about, no, it's for the podcast, you dipshit. I'm gonna be here. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I
Imagine Brain
thought.
just turns camera off, disconnects, and just goes to auto drift.
Nah, I auto drafted a 1 league and it was yours last year. That was on accident.
Excuses.
Anyways, my strategy is I'm going receivers first. I'm loading up receivers first.
Have to.
See. I think there's a couple running backs that are like must grabs if they're available. Once they're gone, it really is at a certain point like best man.
Yeah.
After those first couple picks, it really truly does become like best man for like the next round and a half.
I think what you were saying earlier about a mobile quarterback is interesting too. I usually go with like one guy I can trust as a quarterback to at least produce points on a consistent basis, and I pick a wild card. So I'll pick just like I picked Cam Newton one year on the Patriots just to see how he would do.
That's interesting because I try to go with a little bit of a mobile guy, and then I try to find like a pocket passer type.
Yeah.
Just so I have one of each. But I will say, out of all of the years that I've done fantasy football, I have a very weird ability to grab a banger off the waiver
Yeah.
wire.
Yep. Always.
Like right in like week 3 or 4. I always notice something first, I feel like.
Mm.
And so that's been the key to my success the past couple of years has just been like a decent draft, nothing special, serviceable, and then just riding the waiver wire. Just studying it, watching the games and just finding that like diamond in the rough. A couple years ago it was Nick Chubb.
Okay.
Last year it was fucking Elijah Mitchell for a little while.
Mm.
The 49ers
Elijah Moore was big for me.
The 49ers running backs for some reason, because there was
Running
another
back
one.
factory.
There was another one that I had on the 49ers one year that was just fucking
Philip
incredible
Lindsay.
too. No, it was Raheem Mostert. I picked him up
Oh, okay.
when he started, and then he started to tear it up in the playoffs of fantasy football because the fantasy football playoffs are always early. But I'm excited, dude. I love fantasy football. I think it's. I used to when I first watched football and I was younger. I used to think just like fantasy football. What is the point? But once I started playing it, I was like, okay, I understand now. Football is so much more entertaining now that I actually have something riding on it.
Exactly.
Baby,
Oh yeah.
me.
Come on, Brand, sing for us.
That's all I know from the song.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Speaking of songs, you were telling me that new music is coming out.
This week there's 2 decent releases. Well, potential decent releases coming out. Jid's releasing his new album after a long anticipated wait. It has some okay features on it. I'm not too hyped for the feature list on that one. But he's pretty good at picking decent production, so I'm still going to listen regardless. And then Flatbush Zombies member Michi Darko is dropping his first solo tape this week as well, and all the
Flatbush
singles off of it have been great.
is what would I know of Flatbush Zombies?
Palm trees,
Palm
probably
trees.
Yep, that's what.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I thought.
bangers. If you're a stoner, you know that song.
grass, unzip the
Bag,
dip in my hand,
in my hand,
and a
and then
palm
a
tree.
palm trees. And if you throw shade, it can never haunt me. And if you throw shade, it can never haunt me.
Not
Yeah.
excited about the
Um,
DJ Khaled stuff, huh?
Dude, let me tell you what, bro. Nobody in 2022 wants to hear Kanye and Eminem on a remixed Jesus is King song. But on a DJ Khaled nonetheless. So not only do we have to hear the car alarm or use this gospel, we have to hear Eminem rapping on it. You have to hear Ye rapping on it with 2022 lyrics, I assume. So it's gonna be Kanye and Skeet Davidson filled. And then I hear DJ Khaled over it too, bro. I'd rather fucking listen to literally 100 Gex, Death Grips.
Gak.
Like I even know I'm gonna listen to it. I'm still gonna listen to it because you almost have to, just for the meme of it.
Like watching a car crash.
Yeah, like, if the car's crashing, like you don't look away. You can just keep watching it. And I don't know. I'm just
Isn't that
not
fucked up?
excited.
Isn't that fucked up about the human race? We love chaos. We love
you
like
know,
we love terrifying events. Like
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily terrifying events, right?
disaster.
I think it's the male
We
ability
love
to
love
just love
carnage.
the destruction, and TikTok proves that because
We
every
just-
once in a while on my For You page something will say this is for my male audience, and it's like a big rock going into the water going kabloosh, and it has 2 million
Kabloosh.
likes, and you know what? God damn it, I'm adding that like too.
Kabloosh. It goes kabloosh.
It's great TikTok content. I mean, I can't even front, but us males are easy to entertain.
Yeah,
We're the
just
human
cause a
equivalent
little
of
damage.
shiny.
Cause a
Literally.
little damage, dude.
Yeah.
Cause a little ruckus. And we're all about it. We'll join you, even. To be honest. Most of the
Well,
time.
maybe.
I think you'd join somebody in making rock go kabloosh in the water.
Oh, rock, yeah, but destruction maybe not. It could be illegal and
Well, you're
can't be asked to do
you're
with
destroying
legalities.
the water in that scenario.
I wish my internet would cut out there so I don't have to hear what the fuck you just said to me.
All right. All right. So boys, you did something pretty cool this week.
Sure did.
Something exciting. Something that nope, not I don't well, maybe you did. I guess I don't really know. Tell me if you did that. But you guys recorded a podcast together.
Sure did.
Daniel.
You got
Yeah, me-
anything you wanna share with the Escape Plan fans on what they can expect from this show of yours?
Me and Jake.
Both of you. Oh,
We-
sorry. I didn't understand what you were saying.
Me and Jake are both lovers of rap music. We both love to talk about it on an extensive basis. Too much, in fact, that we can't fit it all on the Escape Plan. So me and Jake were like, hey. Well, more so Jake. Jake came up to me with the idea this week. And he's
Sorry,
like, hey.
I'm going to pause for a second. He didn't mean we can't fit it all in the escape plan. He meant we can't fit it all in straight to the point. Anyway, continue.
Anyways, Jake hits me up. He's like, let's do a podcast. So I'm like, okay, what do we want to do? And we came up with an idea that we threw out the window within the first half of the podcast. And you'll see that in the podcast. However, me and Jake have basically invented a game style show that we're going to do every week, and god damn it, it's brilliant. And Jimmy Fallon's gonna be stealing this from us in 2 weeks. I already fucking
Oh yeah.
know. The podcast is called Hard Drive. You, I'm not gonna leak the game. You can find it out when you watch the podcast, but it's a good game.
Sure is. And
Me and
aside
Jake
from just
also-
playing the game, we'll talk about any various music news possible. We'll probably go into some tangents, some deep dives. But the game will probably be the premise of the show, and we'll take it from there.
just an hour and 15 minutes of me and Jake just blabbling on about our nerd music takes.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Pretty great.
So the title is Hard Drive, hosted by, honestly, two of the best humans I know, Jake. All about music, everything music you could possibly desire. Any ideas, boys, on when it might release? What days that people can
Friday.
look for
It'll be
it?
Friday.
My birthday?
Yep. Friday. It'll be Friday on SoundCloud, and then we'll have to find a way to get on YouTube on Friday as well.
Send it to me. Or I'll just
All right,
no,
yeah.
I don't have to send you don't have to send it. Yeah, send it to me.
Or I can just make the file downloadable on SoundCloud. You just pull it from there as well. But I need to renew my SoundCloud subscription. So
Yeah, if you have
Don't
the
worry
file,
about
just
it. I'm sending him the file right now.
dope. Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it.
I wanted to actually, Brand. I wanted to cut the intro and like add some shit to it first.
I will.
Jake, just do what you
Jake will
wanna-
send it to you.
Yeah, just do what you want to do
I'll
and
get you a
send it to
copy.
me tomorrow.
Yeah. That works.
But yeah, hard drive Friday. Are we thinking Fridays in general, just every Friday?
Well,
think so.
yeah, I'd
Or
like
just
to.
like- Fridays are the day it will be posted, not necessarily every Friday, but
I'm hoping. There's just circumstances why it has to come out on Friday this week. But ideally, it doesn't take much to edit it and turn it around pretty quick. So the idea would be just to like kind of go for it ASAP, after each recording. But circumstances this week we had to push it back.
okay. Sweet. Well, you heard it here first. Coming to you from the creators of the Escape Plan.
Oh yeah,
Hard drive.
that's us.
Oh yeah.
But with that, boys, you got anything else for the people?
Oh
No, Brian, are you doing? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Optic Gaming just signed 4 really big creators onto their platform. That very much helps in the content creation space of the gaming orgs, which I think a lot of gaming orgs are like trying to capitalize on. I mean, you see with 100 Thieves, OTK, it's not I wouldn't call it gaming group, but content creation group. Optic signed the Botez sisters, who are two. I think they're twins, who are very good at chess, and just overall great streamers. Miko, who is a VTuber, but like super in depth, like
An incredible coder.
like
Incredible coder.
incredible coder. Like she's super, like her, like she sounds like I ain't gonna lie, she sounds kind of dumb, but she's really smart. She like proves it with what she does on stream. It's crazy. Justin Minks, who's just a very loud belligerent person, Irish, and then
Hilarious.
that's it. That's it. Those 4. But that's big signing for Optic. And
Yeah,
I
I would-
assume all 4. I assume all 4 of those girls got paid heavily from Optic too. So good for them.
I
too.
would say like massive W for Optic because I've kind of been following Optic for a long time, and one thing I would say that they do lack, at least as of late, is their like content creation side of things. They're extremely well known as far as like competitive gaming is concerned,
Yeah.
especially Call of Duty.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you really see it like compared to like literally every other org. Even like Complexity has Tim and fuck, who else? Who's the other co-owner? Other guy he plays Call of Duty with. That doesn't matter. But there's 2 content creators right there in Complexity. 100 Thieves has. We know who 100 Thieves
Cloaksy?
has.
Is it Cloaksy?
Cloaksy. Yes, yeah, Cloaksy. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he had done that or not.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. But yeah, Optic really let Schlack. I mean, kind of in a way. Like they have a streamer called Hutch, who was a former Call of Duty pro.
Yeah,
Used to work for Machinima Respawn. I don't know if you remember those days.
that's one of the things that Optic is good at is when their people are done as far as their like competitive careers are over. Like they're really good at keeping their competitive players and allowing them to transition into just like regular content creators and still helping them out a little bit and keeping them on like under contract basically. Um and a lot of them have had good transitions. I mean, Nadeshot was on Optic for a while, and then when he was done competing, he stayed streaming there for a little bit, and then I think Hector actually even helped him with the creation of 100 Thieves. And Hector's the owner of Optic, so I mean, it's they're one of like the OGs of orgs as far as like the gaming industry is concerned.
Phase 2, bro.
Yeah,
Phase 2 is a pretty stacked lineup of streamers. Nick Merckx being one of them. Like,
yeah, which is interesting because as of late, it has felt like FaZe is falling apart.
I feel like FaZe has always been like the company to almost be first in everything in the industry. So I think it's more so a trial and error process, you know.
Right.
I think they bounced back. I think the news was they bounced back pretty decently on the stock market.
Okay, that's good. It just feels like they sometimes take such large leaps for things before really thinking about it.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the FaZe is basically the showgirl for esports. You know,
Yeah.
like everybody knows FaZe. Well, that's why like Snoop Dogg is on FaZe, and all these like super famous people like are quote unquote in FaZe. You know, like most like I would say, I would say there's a lot more people out there who know a FaZe some way or some than they do like 100 Thieves or Complexity or some shit, you know, or Optic.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck, I knew of FaZe even when I was a casual gamer. Didn't look at in any depths into it. I didn't know anybody else except for FaZe.
I think 100 Thieves
That's
is getting up there as far as like recognition in that way too. But I truly think that that's just because of their merch line. They make such good merch.
Very good collaborators. Very good collaborators.
That's how they started. So
Well, I
my
mean,
frames my frames are dropping like fucking mad right now for some.
the thing is, I think a lot of 100 Thieves success can also go to the fact that Courage JD has got that youth market held down. Like,
I mean,
nah,
not
I think
really.
Courage
He
is.
doesn't pull that
I
many views.
There's no shot.
He's less than 10K.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why do I think he's bigger than he is?
Because he's so good at putting himself out there. You see him everywhere. He has such good relationships